How has being a parent helped me to draw closer to God? Before I answer that, let me just say, for those of you that don't know, my husband and I have 6 children. We got married in 2001, and I had our first child in 2003, and our last child was born in 2013. So if you do the math, yep, I was pregnant just about every year, and we just always had a newborn or I was pregnant. That was just the reality of my life for quite some time. And I think, to answer the question, the number one answer for how being a parent has drawn me closer to God is that, honestly, being a parent has fine-tuned my prayer life. And of course, if you are praying, you are going to get closer to God, because praying is just simply talking to God and giving him a chance to respond to you. And praying has really become just my medicine, if you will, and it came from a place of desperation. It wasn't like I set out to say, okay, I'm a parent now, so I'm just really gonna pray. It just came from a place of sheer necessity, because the more I went on in parenting, I realized that I don't have it together. I have a great deal of insecurities. I lose my temper pretty easily, and little children can make me cry at just the silliest thing because I'm sleep deprived. And yeah, I really need Jesus. I said I love Jesus, but sometimes these little ones can make you really question that, because they can bring some responses out of you that you're like, ooh, this is not good. So I have learned to just really develop a prayer life, because parenting, and I'm not trying to sound funny when I say this, can really drive you crazy if you are not careful. And in my case, I have children with just such distinct personalities, and they have so many different personalities. And what's really interesting is when you throw a few in there whose personality are just the polar opposite of yours. Yeah, so I am on just in a place of praying quite often. And again, it came from a place of just necessity. I didn't set off to just say, I'm just going to develop a prayer life. It was, I needed to develop a greater prayer life. And it's interesting because before I had children, in my head, I had created just this thing of, okay, for me to really just go in prayer, everything has to be quiet and just so, serene. And then I could really talk to the Father and have him talk back to me. Well, yeah, when the children came and I was sleep deprived and I was having to wipe snotty noses every other second or change diapers, I didn't always have those quiet moments. So I learned how to break out of this idea of things have to flow from a perfect place in order for me to speak to God. I learned how to, in the moment, just lift my heart to him. And my kids now, they're just so used to at any moment me just bursting out into prayer, because if I don't burst out into prayer, it's not going to be a good thing, because my response is not always what it should be. So I have just drawn closer to God because, again, it's, so many things come to the surface in the process of praying and parenting. Another thing that I want to say is, I didn't really realize the depth of my insecurities until I became a parent. I didn't realize the depth of my brokenness until I became a parent. And depending on sometimes how we respond to our children, sometimes those insecurities come to the surface. For example, back to this idea of just always trying to be perfect, and you want to be perfect because you want people to think the best of you because of your own insecurities, right? And I just remember when my children were school age, I always wanted them to be at the top. And while there is nothing wrong with wanting your children to excel, I recognize that I had almost become obsessed with it, and that came from just a place of my own insecurities, right? And the Lord really had to help me to see that, Anika, this is not good. Yes, you want your children to do well, but when you become obsessed with it and you're just pushing them, you have to go back and understand what that root is. So again, that brought me closer to God, because I had to go back to a place of prayer and say, okay, God, is there something from childhood that's there? What is this? What's the root? I'm seeing the symptom of a bigger issue because of the way I'm parenting. So show me what that root is. So again, it brought me back to that place of just really seeking the face of the Lord. I think parenting has also brought me closer to God, because it's helped me to see how much I don't have control. So it's forced me to cling even the more to the one who is in control. Our last two children had a lot of medical challenges, and there was one that was really on the brink of death, and we didn't know what was going on. And it was in that moment that I recognized, no matter how smart the doctors are, no matter, how good our insurance may have been, the reality is that we don't have any control. God does. And this is, an extreme example to show you how I've just come to the place of recognizing that control is really an illusion. It's God who is the one who is in control. Yes, we have choices, but we can't always control the outcome of those choices. And parenting has really helped me to see again that I don't have much control. So I am more in a place of just saying, God, I have to cling to you, because there's so many unpredictable things that come up in the process of parenting and just life, period. The final thing that I want to say, and of course there's more, but for the sake of the video, I'll just wrap it up here. The final thing that I would say is that parenting has really helped me to understand at a greater level how much I am loved by God. And of course, I don't know the depth of it yet, the full depth of it, but I think about how here I am, an imperfect human being, but I love my children and I love them greatly, right? And that love is an imperfect love. And when I think about how my Father who is in heaven, who is perfect and loves me unconditionally and perfectly, my mind is blown. So how can I not want to just come closer to that one who loves me in such a great way? So parenting has been quite the journey, and I feel like I'm just really scratching the surface, but I am so grateful for the opportunity to be a parent, because I've been able to just see God in just such a great and awesome way. And my relationship with him, as I said earlier, has gone to another level. And it came from a place of just necessity and my need to go more into prayer, because I realized how much I didn't know and I realized how much I needed him. So, yep, that is it.